As a small business owner, there's some basics that we can never do without in a business. And yet, as business owners, we make a lot of mistakes when it comes to these basics. And one of them is money. So today I'm going to talk about 7 money mistakes that small businesses make. 1, buying equipment without planning. When I started business over 15 years ago, these are things that I had to endure. Buying equipment, thinking they're very necessary, and then at the end of the day, they become white elephants. And as I'm even talking today, I have equipment that I never used, and yet we bought. And this was because of no planning. It was a reactive purchase. So we end up buying equipment that we not really need at the end of the day. So before we buy any equipment, we have to plan. We have to look at, are they necessary? Are they long term? What are the returns on investment of this equipment? And then there we can plan and buy, but not buy on a reactive mode the way I did. It was very costly for me. Number 2, recruiting people who are not necessary or overhiring. Yes, I did recruit people who are not very necessary because somebody would come to me, relatives or friends that I have somebody to employ, and I would bring in this person without any defined job description. So at the end of the day, I had people who were in who were not adding any value to the company. By then, I didn't even have job description. There was no job definition for each and every person. I had not planned in such a way that I would bring in people when there's a need in the business. I didn't even have an organogram. And at the end of the day, I spent much on paying people. I spent a lot of money on paying people, taking all the money that was coming in, and it became very expensive for me. But I later learned like I have to really plan systematically, and I only bring people when it is very necessary. Because with the planning, I can make out this person needs this space needs an additional person. This person needs an additional helper. And this made it very easy for me. And I would do this while looking at the cash flow to ensure that I'm able to pay these people. I'm able to cover my overheads. But I had to learn it the hard way. Number 3, not building enough cash flow for futuristic purposes. Yes, money was coming in, and that is how I was using this money. It comes in, it goes out. I never had an emergency. I never had money for future planning. Money was coming in, money going out. At the end of the day, you found like when I had a lot of money, I would even divert and start other businesses, which failed. So I didn't focus on building this specific business to grow and to scale up and become something that can run without me. I was just looking for any shining object and putting my money in those shining objects. So I was not thinking of the future of this specific company. Number 4, diverting company income to invest in other projects. And this relates to number 3. And this I did a lot. I remember I even did farming. I did farming for white sorghum for the Kenya breweries because I had extra money and I invested there, and it flopped completely. It really didn't work out. So I would rush for these shiny objects that were really flopping, and I wasted a lot of money in these shiny objects. So I would advise other companies not to rush for those shiny objects. Let them focus on this business, let it grow, let them scale it up, and then the business can run on its own. Because as you focus on this business, the more you are able to remove to eliminate all the weaknesses and build on the strength and make it grow. Then after that you can have extra cash to put in other businesses. But I had to learn it the hard way. Number 5, not monitoring cash flow regularly. This one I came to learn later on, that you should monitor your cash flow on a daily basis. not until the quarter is over that's when you check whether you had money or not. So this not monitoring is what made me not even realize I was overpaying people. I had overhired people because I was not monitoring and I was not able to say whether or whatever I was spending was more. The expenses were more than the income, yeah, or the expense was taking most of the income. And this is because I was not monitoring cash flow on a regular basis. And this messed me up big time. It brought me down to my knees, which was not meant to be. And this is not because the business was not making money, but because I was not monitoring the cash flow. And then number 6, ignoring numbers when things are going well. This one, I cannot cheat you. This one, I did it over and over again because I knew the business was going well. If you ask me how I could define the business was going well, I cannot tell you because I was not monitoring. I just knew there was a lot of money. I would spend on many things. I would buy equipment which were not necessary. I would bring in people who are not really needed at that time. I would invest in other shiny objects, in other shiny businesses which were not really, there was no sure bet that they were going to bring in income. And it became very costly for me. So ignoring my numbers and assuming I'm doing well was a big no. It really brought me down to my knees. And this one was also difficult because when you're going to the bank, what they need are numbers for them even to think of giving you a loan. And that was a very big mistake for me. Number 7, which is the last, planning with all the available monies. Yes, money in, money out. There was no emergency fund, there was no retainer for futuristic plans. As long as money was coming in, we go out. We buy equipment, we pay people, we invest in other places without thinking that there is a time when the business is down and we need this money. And in the long run, that's what happened. Because during COVID season, the business went down. It went down, I had loans, I had people to pay, but there was no emergency money. There was no backup. And I had to get rid of people. The auctioneers came calling. I had no backup. I'm not thinking that things can go haywire, which are not in the plan. So I did not plan for it. So what I can advise the small business that they will learn from the mistakes that I made and they'll be able to do it better than I did. For you to learn more, please subscribe to my channel. You might learn from my journey of what I went through as a small business person.